Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Art Is You podcast. I'm your host, Carly Scott, and today I'm going to read you a letter I wrote to myself about a year ago. And I mentioned this briefly in last week's episode when I was talking about the concept of how sometimes being selfish is actually a really healthy choice. And sorry guys, also my voice has been like, I might have to clear my throat a few times during this episode, so I apologize in advance for that. But the idea of it being healthy to be selfish in some cases, I feel like this letter kind of builds on that theme. And so it'll kind of be like a little continuation part 2 of last week's episode. But I'm kind of going to add on to a little bit because the letter I wrote to myself about a year ago was inspired by a podcast episode I had listened to called We Can Do Hard Things. That's the name of the podcast. It's hosted by Glennon Doyle and her wife, Abby Wambach. Am I saying that right? That's not even a hard word to say. I don't know. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. But I've listened to a lot of episodes from that podcast, and I've loved a lot of them that I've heard. And one of them that I heard about a year ago, they were interviewing Elizabeth Gilbert, who is like the author of Eat, Pray, Love, and I think a lot of other books and things. She's done a lot of amazing stuff. But Elizabeth Gilbert was on the podcast. And go back to this episode if you want to listen to it, because I'm not really going to get into everything they talked about, but essentially Elizabeth Gilbert writes these letters to herself, but from the perspective of love. So she calls them letters from love, and it's essentially like you address the letter to yourself, and then you write from the perspective of love, writing to you, and then you can sign the letter like love, like love was the thing that was writing you the letter. I don't know. You guys get the concept, I think. It is kind of like you have to use your imagination a little bit because obviously if you've never done something like this before, you might wonder like, okay, how is this really different than just like writing a letter to myself? But I feel like the reason it's different is because it forces you to think from another perspective, and from the perspective of love and what you would interpret what kind of message love would want to give you. And so when you think about it from that perspective, you are really pulling from love because that is what you are using to inspire your letter. And so that's like at least how I tried to do it for myself, where I just sat down, and if you go back and listen to that podcast episode, I think they read letters they wrote to themselves from love. So there's other examples, and it's so beautiful to like hear their different letters. And you can do this like every day. Like I think Elizabeth Gilbert was saying she like does this in the morning, just like a letter from love, like what message do you have for me today? And anyways, I don't do it every day. I've done it once about a year ago, and I haven't done it since. I should probably do it again. But yeah, I want to read it to you guys because I feel like it really highlights what I was talking about last week, and I just want to talk more about that concept and encourage anyone who is still really struggling with the idea of being seen as selfish and making choices that would, hurt other people's feelings or whatever. Like that can be so scary. So you guys don't understand how like scared and how much internal battles I have had over this concept of like being seen as selfish and like being misunderstood, and like me wanting to do something that I know is like healthy for me and is helping me to to honestly like love myself more, get to know myself more, I think become a much more like healthy human being that just feels more, I think, like a human is supposed to feel, as far as just like understanding myself and the agency I have and like the way my brain works, like all of this stuff. Like I have had so many battles about like, I know this is good, it's clearly good for me, but like if it's hurting other people, it's like hurting their feelings. You have to think about it from the perspective of like, would you want someone else to sacrifice their well-being, their mental health, their authenticity to make you comfortable? I personally do not want other people to do that for me. I want to be the kind of person that makes people feel safe to be them. And even if I don't agree with everything they're doing, I don't have to like let it be something about me. I can just let them have their life. And yeah, so if you think about it from that perspective, you have to think about what you would do if you saw someone in your shoes. If you saw someone in your shoes struggling with their mental health, they're struggling with feeling like they are like valuable as a person. They're struggling feeling like, why am I even here? What am I even like doing? Like, does anyone see me or care about me? If you struggle with this, and you're the type of person that would look at someone else in that position and be like, of course, take care of yourself. Please stop sacrificing yourself for me. Like, you know, just take care of yourself. Like, this is what I had to do for myself, you guys. I had to turn to myself and be like, just take care of yourself. Like, I know the voices around you might be pulling you in that way, and they're trying to like, you know, almost, I don't even know. I don't think it's intentional. I think people just sometimes don't always want the same thing for you that is like healthy for you. Does that make sense? Like, and that makes sense because there's so many people in the world. So of course, sometimes people will think you're doing the wrong thing for you, even when it's a healthy choice for you. If you've had experience with this, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna read the letter because I'm getting lost in my thoughts again. So let's refocus. I wrote this a little over a year ago, January of 2024. Okay, this is my letter from love, and this is kind of confusing, I'm realizing, but I said hi love at the beginning, but like love is calling me love, like as a term of endearment. Okay, so it says, hi love, you're doing it. You're learning how to take care of yourself. You're starting to nurture the parts of you that needed tenderness for so long. Your inner child, little Carly, is so grateful for the way you are showing up for yourself. This is the attention and care she was longing for, but didn't know how to ask for. Didn't think she was allowed to ask for. You guys, why? Why do I have to be crying right now? Okay. But you stepped in and wrapped your arms around her and gave her all the space and time she needed to heal. Okay, you can get through this. Like, you guys, I'm actually so proud of myself right now. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. All the time she needed to heal, to grieve, and to get angry. You sat with her in the darkness and protected her from the outside world. The people that were demanding her time and attention, you stood firm for her. Whew. I'm getting it together, you guys. Okay, wait. Okay. You saw what a precious thing she is to protect. Even when you were scared that others wouldn't understand, you were brave. Because of the safety you are providing her, she is learning to trust again. Learning to trust you, herself. She's amazed at the way you held her hand through the darkness, like no one had been able to do in the past. You felt her pain and let it move through you. You were transforming it. You felt it all for her. Do you see how she dances in the kitchen now? How she's started to smirk and say hello to herself when she walks past a mirror. You guys, I'm gonna be too embarrassed to post this. Fuck, okay. She's taking her time. She isn't quite there yet with the rest of the world, but she feels that comfort with you. Let her take her time. Keep taking care of her. She's oh so grateful. Love. Oh my God, you guys. Stop it. So I think I need to write myself more letters from love, because apparently that's a really powerful exercise that like really helps just put things into perspective. And it's just an encouragement. Like, you guys can encourage yourself if you're going through a dark time and it feels like no one's there. Like, that's where the strange gift of that is learning to have your own back. And like, if you can meet yourself in that darkness and just choose to be kind and choose love for you, like, don't think about the rest of the world yet. Don't think about anything else yet. That comes later. Give yourself time to heal first. Step away from it all, heal. And I know stepping away from it all, like, what does that even mean? Like, it's impossible. So obviously that looks different in different situations, and there's different levels of stepping away. But create more space, even if it means you have to tell the people you care about that you need time and space. And it is natural for them to not want to give that to you if they care about you, or they're going to miss you, or it's going to take away from something they want. But if you know you need to do some work on yourself, you are allowed. Let me give you permission. Give yourself permission. Don't wait for anyone to give you permission, by the way. Give yourself permission, but if you need a little push, this is me giving you permission to do that. Even when because nobody will. Nobody's gonna come and say, I mean, maybe for some people, but I wouldn't count on this. I would say for the most part, even if you grew up surrounded by so many people and you know, feel like you have so many people that love you, that if you were in a dark place, they would, you know, for sure know how to help you or something. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes even the people that care deeply about you do not know what you need and can't understand maybe what you're going through if they haven't been through something similar. They just might not be able to meet you where you need to be met. And healing is such a delicate thing. Like, it was a painful process. Like, there is so much heaviness behind like what I did for years to get to the point to like write myself that letter last year. Like, that was years of work to even get there. And so it's just like the pride comes from like, I'm so proud of like the changes I've made, not in like a I want to like, I think I'm better than anyone. Like, so many people have done this before me and showed me the way that like I wouldn't have been able to figure it out if like people weren't helping me, and like I wasn't listening to people who had already been through similar things. I wouldn't have been able to find my way. And so I'm not trying to say like I'm so proud of myself, like I'm better than other people who haven't done this. Like, no, I'm just so proud of myself for the work that I did to get to where I am, to have this relationship with myself that like I'm going to continue to build on for the rest of my life. And just so proud of myself for giving myself a firm foundation. And a lot of us, if you weren't given that in childhood, and so for some of us, like our life crumbles once we become an adult, or like the foundation is torn from under you and you have to rebuild. But I feel like in a way it's a blessing, because first of all, I can make so much better choices for myself now than I could as a kid. And also, like, as a kid, you're almost just like subject to your environment in a lot of ways because you are dependent on your caregivers to provide for you. So you don't really get to choose what kind of like environment you're in. And when you're an adult, if you get the opportunity to build a better foundation for yourself that comes from within and comes from a place of just security within yourself, that is like such a beautiful gift that I feel like I've given myself. And I want, just for the people that want something similar, them to have resources, people that are trying to, I guess, share ways that helped them, because I think everyone's different and something that works for one person isn't going to work for another person. We're all so unique. So like me talking about this, I might only be able to reach a very specific type of person who's maybe similar to me, or maybe not, maybe, I don't know, like I just don't really know. But I feel like as a teacher or a former teacher, sometimes just hearing something from a different person's perspective makes it click for you. And I just don't know if me sharing this could make something click for someone else. And so I'm going to probably keep sharing and finding different ways to share with you guys the things I've been doing. So this letter this week, I need to cut this episode off now because I actually have to go somewhere, and I was trying to make this episode really short. But yeah, there's so many other little things I've been doing that have been helping to build this relationship with myself, nurturing that. And yeah, it's a process. It's definitely a long process. And I don't know, I would encourage you to maybe try to write a letter to yourself from love this week and just see how it goes. Like, this is zero pressure, you guys. Nobody has to read this ever. So you don't have to like think too hard about it, honestly. Okay? I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm just like making all the noises right now. I'm gonna wrap this episode up. I hope it was helpful in some way, and I will talk to you next week. Love you. Bye.